you.
Woohoo! We are recording, I
Yay.
think. We should
It
be
does say so.
streaming, and I love where we're having coffee today. Like, she has a surprise. Where could it be? We've been talking about Friends and Friends memes and reruns and all that hootenanny for how long?
So of course we got to be at Central Park.
Of course.
Of course, today I chose my San Diego mug, but that's okay.
That's okay.
The coffee house can be anywhere.
It can be. That's true. Even when you're not drinking coffee in your old bedroom. Right? You can pretend. I don't see.
That's the glory of background.
Yay. So, there we go. So, it's funny that I never get notifications that I'm going live and I can never see it, but when you share it, then I can see it.
Oh,
because last week we had that lovely issue. With the 4-minute video or 4-second video.
4 seconds. Yes.
So, and then me not pressing record.
It happens. It happens.
It does. And there's just, reasons to, or not reasons, opportunities, finally. Opportunities to grow.
I love that word.
Practice forgiveness. So, yeah.
Because it's good to forgive, especially of yourself. Of yourself, to yourself, with yourself. Forgive yourself. There we go. We'll just go with
that. I was just going to say, skip the preposition.
Yeah.
If all else fails, the editor just says, the editor just says, cut the word. You don't need it.
Cut
the word.
Short and sweet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The most important word, forgive yourself.
Yes. So, hi, I'm Mindy of MindyGets.com. Coming live from New York City.
Of sorts, yeah. Virtually live from New York City. Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
Yeah.
A lot of friends and family still back there.
Mm-hmm.
So staying in touch with them. Because we're opening up, they have, they're still in the thick of it. So just sending good thoughts.
Yeah. I can't imagine. Okay, but I gotta know.
What?
There's a hand leaning on that pole.
Oh yeah. I've never noticed that.
It's so weird.
I can crop it to get rid of it because it's kind of creepy. It's probably just some stage tech or. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to figure it out because it kind of blends into the chair underneath, and I'm like, that's the weirdest sculpture. Nope, that's an arm.
But
that's a person.
They do have a huge greyhound sculpture that they can ride in the show.
Well, yes, I know. It's little PDX or something. Like, who knows? But that's all right.
Who knows what it could be? But no, I actually think this is a cameraman, stagehand, PA, something going on.
Yeah.
Only because I don't think it's one of the cast. Who knows?
Yeah. It can be whoever we
I wasn't there. Yeah, exactly. And I can crop it out for next time. But we're going to try to find another one for next time. There's many coffee shops out there.
Oh, I know. We should get my Pinterest wish list. Because, every time I go somewhere, I, Google the coffee shops to figure out where to stay and where we want to go. Which is how I found.
I wish I'd taken the ones I went to in Dublin were always busy enough that I couldn't. There's no way I could Photoshop all the people out of it, but there's some nice ones. that I remember sitting in.
Yeah. Trying to think. Surely I have photos of coffee shops I've been to, but who knows what computer they're on.
I definitely have photoshops of the food from the coffee shops that I was in.
Me and a big picture of a chocolate croissant. Yeah, it would be appropriate for me. But as always, coffee shop tangents, we are missing travel and each other and traveling with each other. Which, ironically, our title, Back to Better, came from a national conference and the CEO of the company that we partner with and his talk on going back to better. And it was a very inspiring talk and I appreciated it immensely. And it just sounded like something that I needed to journal about and think about more and have more conversations about, because I'm irritated with the let's get back to normal, let's get back to normal. Probably because I feel like it's not possible. I don't know. Are you irritated by the thought of back to normal? Or do you want to go back to normal? Or is it not even
I guess it depends on what you define as normal, because I don't think any of us had I'm always under the question of, well, what's normal? Because my normal routine and my normal state is different than yours, right? And I think that's the problem with the word normal, right? I know I'm irritated by the new normal because I'm sorry, I refuse to accept where we currently are as the new normal. It's not. It's where we are right now, right? I think and then we're going to be moving so slowly back to a normalized state away from this that we should have, I think at that point there's a new normal, but I think you need to find what your new normal post this situation is. And sorry, I'm getting there we go, that's better. Sun right in my eyes and it was blurry. But now it's dark. So yeah, it's just anything about normal doesn't exist, I think, in this, whether it's current or in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think when people say, I want to get back to normal, I think it's just a scream for, I want control. I refuse to relinquish control, and I am going to be grumpy until somebody gives me my control back. I get that. You know, there are lots of ways that I would like control back over things. But I realize that it's not helpful. Right? And so what is helpful? What is helpful when we're grasping for this back to normal, retroactive, time machine thing that's really all about ego and control? For me, it's not focusing on those things. Of course, I get wistful and nostalgic. We were just talking about Facebook memories, and you know, my daughter and I 4 years ago were about to hop back on a plane to go to the PICU. But for somewhere in between this last week or so was when we were finally getting released from the NICU and coming home and figuring out that normal, that new routine, right? And so I do have longings for things that I won't have in future times necessarily, but I don't want to stranglehold them. But I also like to if this isn't working, how can I flip it? Right? Like, is there the opposite of something? Is it, you can reverse psychology with your kids. Oh, whatever you do, don't go potty now. That would not be fun. We say that a lot at my house. Oh, there is no way I'd want to brush my teeth. Nope. Mama wouldn't want to do it. So can I reverse psychology myself? And this back to better is kind of a slight tweak of a reverse psychology of how can you think of this differently, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, because as we struggle to get back to normal, my question would be, was every aspect of your normal something you would want to carry into the future, right? Analyze that. If it is, then great. If you 100% want to get back to where you were and you liked your routines and you liked where you were, everything that was going on, that's great. Get back to that. Work on getting back to that. But everybody has something that they were trying to work on or get better. And now is, of course, accepting the opportunity of, you know what, some of us are still working 8 to 10, 12 hours a day, right? So it's not I think what I want to also be clear on it's we're not like doing the memes of, this is your opportunity if you don't do X, Y, Z while you're doing this, right? You're wasting your time. It's not that. Yeah. It's if you're, even, I am working 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that opportunity that I still have this income coming in. But there were aspects of our routines that now that I have the opportunity to do this at home, I can alter and I can change, right? There are things that I wasn't happy with. There are things that we struggled with. And now's that opportunity to say, well, can we flip it, right? Can we work as a family to kind of flip that, right? And everybody has their timetable. We're 6 weeks into this and there's a lot of grieving, and we've talked about that in the last couple of weeks. So there's a lot of things that need to happen also in that. But that's that opportunity, right? To grieve and let go of the things that didn't serve you and your family before and come out of this in a better state, or not. You could go, you know what, this didn't work before, let's try this. And then all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, this isn't working either, right? Right. It's also knowing that kind of your whole life is a little bit like a lab experiment, right? You're always trying to find that state that you and your family, your immediate family, work best in. And here we're in an opportunity to kind of get back into the lab and kind of play with things and kind of toss them up in the air again and go, okay, does this work? Does this work? Can we, find a new state of being that serves us better?
And I think, how you said, some people, they may have loved their job and loved their schedule and loved their family and loved the way things were. And so they want that back. And that's great and that's fine. But I would have to say that even if you're not 10xing your business and taking in all these new, using your opportunity, this is your whatever, there's still personal growth. And there's still kind of this bizarre stepping in the same river twice scenario. Mm-hmm. So time existed, even if it's not linear, time existed, and you had this life between here and here. And so you may have gained or lost weight, you may have lost loved ones, you may have whatever, something happened in this space. And so you don't get to plop from here to there. right? And for some people, this space in here was crazy, right? And so even if you loved your job and loved whatever, other people that are going from here into the new space went through all of this. So all of this is not going to be the same, right? Your interactions with coworkers will not be the same because they aren't the same people coming in to what you perceive as the old way, right? Businesses will shift. Some of them will allow more at-home work. Some of them will require it. Some of them won't be there. So what can you do, whether you want big shifts or little shifts? Mindfulness is really, for me, where it begins. So if you don't examine where you were and just say you want everything back, you might get some backlash when you try to continue without any reflection, right? So for me, it's journaling. Where am I at now? You know, I blogged about it just not too long ago. I had to sit down and do some year-end type journaling in April because I had to see where I was. I was facing going back to work and having that judgment-y self-talk of like, did you do anything? Was it worthwhile? And, you know, even when I let myself off the hook and was like, even if I took a nap every day and my kid watched 12 hours of TV every day, there was still life happening and it can still be enough. But what did I do? Did I do anything that I like to do? Because that for me was a big thing making the list. Did I do anything that brought me joy? Did I take care of myself? Did I take care of my daughter the best way that I could in that time? And is there anything that I need to look at to evaluate that? Do I want to find a way to keep doing? What do I want to stop doing? You've been a fan of the stop doing list, right? From Danielle Laporte.
Yep. Right. Well, and did I find a new way of doing, right? Is there something else that I've found to help support myself or my family that is a new way of doing it that we can continue forward, right? So it's not just stop doing, it's because some things you still have to continue doing, right? But are there ways that, so I like, because I'm also reading Kate Northrop's book, right? So it's kind of blending me stop doing, do less, mindful doing. It's how do you incorporate all of that and what are you moving forward with, right? Are you finding new ways to move forward? And like I said, that's going to be different for everybody. And I think bouncing ideas off of people is good. But the other thing that, you know, is to mix a little bit of Gabby Bernstein in here, it's relieving the judgment on yourself, right? That, because that's the other thing, right? Don't judge yourself for what you did before. Accept it with the grace of that's where we were at the moment. And that's what we knew to do. And now this is that opportunity of reflection to say, is that what we truly have to do? Can we drop some of it? Can we do some of it a different way? Because, you know, even things like making dinner, right? We have to all eat at some point during the day. Is that the way for my family? That is the best way, both from a physical, logistical standpoint and a nutrition standpoint, right? Maybe because, you know, so it's, and drop some of those things that you're finding, you know what, I didn't have to do it that way. I can now do it this new way. But don't judge yourself for having done it that way because that's what you knew, right? This is just giving you that opportunity to look at it in another way and say that there could be another way to do it. And then also accept that may not work either. Right? I mean, I may find right now I'm baking my own bread and I'm finding it easy and I'm finding it's working and it's an outlet. But when I get back to commuting at some point, does it serve me then? Right? And not judging myself for not being able to make that work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because, you know, that talk about utilizing your time is great, but there's also the need to realize you may have launched a side gig, but in 5 weeks, it may not replace your income, right? So you may lose your the commute time that you dedicated to the side gig. So where does that leave you? How are you transitioning? Because utilizing your time and being mindful of your time now in this great pause is fantastic. Having no forward vision is a little bit naive. But also, you know, not reflecting on what you desire and what you have now versus what could be is also a missed opportunity. And so, you know, I was off of work. I work in a library part-time, and so the library was closed for a little while, but we're opening back up. But even with that, we're opening back up in a different way. We closed down in a different way than we were operating, you know, in December. And so there are those transitions, but, you know, here we are in seasons. And so I don't have a kiddo in school, but mamas are going to go from homeschooling to summer, and that'll be a weird transition. We're going from winter, spring into summer, and so I'm transitioning stuff with the garden and how do I want to make that better. And so I'm just I found myself spending time doing a lot of evaluating because our governor just had a conference about the reopening last Thursday. And so that became the time for me to be like, okay, again, where am I? What have I done? What do I want to do? And how am I going to move forward? And one of the things that I did, I don't know if you can see that big piece of gift wrap.
It works.
I have this roll of gift wrap from my grandmother. She died years ago. It has been a godsend as far as art projects because my daughter thinks it's fabulous to have really big paper.
Yep.
And she gets to cut, she gets to practice cutting. So it's sitting there because it's been used for gift wrap. It's been used for art projects. It's been used for cutting practice. It's been used for whatever. It's the gift wrap that will never end. But it's also painter's tape taped to my wall because I don't have a big whiteboard or whatever. And I just had to like give myself some maps of like, what the hey, because there's a lot of things that I want to do. And it's not just planner and calendar. There's some dreaming up there, and there's some reminders for self-care up there. And maybe it's why I've never really found the perfect planner, because things are all a little jumbled and messy. I'm an artist. I would show you the other side of the room, but it's a little bit embarrassing. other artists might understand, but there's like a landslide of art supplies here because I chose to empty my mobile art bag to put in artwork that go to a show right before the gallery had to close because of all of this. But it doesn't all fit. And so I guess my encouragement is, if you're a journaler, journal it. If you're a talker, talk it out with your husband or a friend. If you got to draw pictures about it, if you have to dance naked in the moonlight about it, I would encourage you to find your better and then to find ways to embrace those options instead of continue. Because for me, the back to normal is just a continuation of the fear that got us, in my opinion, where we are right now. So I'll shut up and let you talk.
No, and you're right. Yeah. I mean, I think what we have to evaluate is getting back to normal. Again, is the normal state of what we are in where we want to get back to. And and this is also past yes, we want to get back to normal because in the way that kids are back in school, if you work in an office, you can get back in your office. All of those things, right? People can get back to work and the things that they love to do, right? So that's normal. Yes, we want to get back to that. But the doing of those things is the piece that you need to evaluate or you should. I shouldn't say need because I'm not here to dictate to other people what they should do either. But that's the thing that we need to, I need to evaluate is how we were doing those things, right? The way we want to do them. And even that, it's okay not to have that answer today. And that's the other piece, right? It's okay not to have that answer because in 3 months, it's okay to accept that you may have to reconfigure every month because how we get back to that normalized state is going to be different because like Dennis and I were talking the other day, Harley's tournament schedule, she had 3 tournaments between April and June shifted to the fall. So now instead of 1 tournament in October, she has between August and so in like a 3-month period between the 1st of August and the 7th of November, she has 5 or 6 tournaments. So all gathered. And then November is going to end. Like that tournament in November is going to end. She'll have 2 months before she has 4 tournaments in 2 months. So now she's got this compressed schedule that is not going to be normal for us because those would normally have been spread out over 12 months or 8 months. So we also have to evaluate, how are we going to adapt to that change and that shift? And we have, instead of looking 9 months ahead, I might be just looking at, okay, what's going on this 3 months? What's going on this quarter? How are we going to approach that? Where are we going to be? Right? Because she's also starting high school in August. So like, I don't always take a deep breath when I say that because sometimes things don't affect me as much as I think they were. And sometimes they hit me even harder. But I think with everything going on, I've gone from, and those are the things we have to think about too, right? I was thrilled for her to hit the end of 8th grade, to be moving up, to be hitting these milestones. And I was excited for her to hit the first day of high school and see what her, all of those things. And even that, right? We have to accept that. We have to take that one piece at a time because we don't even know what high school looks like. We don't even know what school looks like. School out here starts, Dennis and I were talking about this too. School out here starts the first week of August. We're the first group, right? If you think about it across the country, we're one of the first states to start going back to school. We're still dealing with the end of school, so nobody knows what the first of school next year is going to look like, right? So I can't even go, okay, so if we start getting back to the office in June, right, then what is this all going to look like? I can't even plan 6 months out, right? Mm-hmm. So it's also accepting that normal may not exist for a long, long time. And basically, what works for you and what you need to do now, this week, this month, how does that work? And what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you or, anybody else in our friend group, right? So, and if you have to talk it out, right?
Yeah, and there isn't a clear threshold either, which is kind of, I think, what is making people antsy and crazy, because it's not a switch that gets flipped, and it's not, it's piecemeal as well. The library is open. Not all businesses are open. They're going through phases, but libraries are open starting tomorrow. And so, yeah, if you want just this, crazy, the great pause back in business, it's not so
and if you're like me, that's really hard to deal with.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's hard to deal with the unknown. Like, I can deal with the unknown of, I don't know when I'm going to get back to the office, or I don't know when I'm going to get back to the office full time. The unknown of what's happening at home and that lack of control is what spins me sometimes. Isn't that right? So it's how do you deal with that inability to have your hands wrapped around and moving every piece, right? Because there's pieces that you just don't have.
Yeah. And so I was with some teammates in a book club reading Gabrielle Bernstein's Super Attractor. And one of the things that I think at every book club, we talked about the choose again method. And so back to better can literally be a moment by moment choice as well, right? So in Al-Anon years ago, I learned from one of my favorite people, you can be right or you can be happy. So are you going to let go of that control and just choose to be happy in the moment? Is it really something that's that important? And there are things that are. There are things that, the care of my child. There are some things that are just not allowed and not acceptable. And so I will be right about them. But a lot of times it's just fiddly little silly things, and I'd rather be happy. But you can choose again. And the things that are out of our control, like what the government or governor says, or what businesses say and do, to a certain extent, I don't get a say in all of that directly and for everyone else, like whatever. And so I don't like politics, so we're not going to talk about it, but I can choose better for me, and I can choose better for me today. So, how are you going to choose better for you today? You're going to take some time. You're maybe going to focus on some gratitude. You're going to see where you are. You're going to tap into those feelings and see, what does better even mean? It took me years after my divorce to figure out what I even desired, to pick out clothes that I really wanted to wear. To buy new clothes for myself was so bizarre. And to me, certain times there's still what is better? Oh, it's okay. I can make do. I'm the queen of making do, right? No, what's better? It doesn't have to be winning the lottery and overthrowing the government single-handedly. It could just be, I really wanted chocolate cake for 5 days. I'm making freaking chocolate cake today.
Right.
Right? So, and
better doesn't have to be large leaps either, right?
It can be incremental.
Yeah, it can be little things. It's even, how do you deal with the craving for chocolate cake at this moment, right? If 6 months ago or 3 months ago you dealt with it one way and you're striving to be better, and this is one of those areas, how are you working with it right now? it can be in the moment. How do you choose at this moment to react to being in that state, right? So, and I think we have a lot of different opportunities to make those decisions. And maybe we're making less of them now. If you are in a place where you've been in the house for 2 months, right? You're not necessarily making the decisions of, well, if I go to the store right now, right, do I wear a mask? Do I don't, right? And I'm not getting into that conversation. I'm just saying, in doing better and making your choices, right? You're at home, you're not making that specific choice, but you're still making choices throughout the day. You are still living, right? You're still doing it. So if there are some of those areas that you're working on, it could be those little ones, right? From where am I buying my food from, to what am I eating at the moment? What are my kids eating? How are we staying healthy? How are we occupying our time, right? It's at that moment. If I'm online shopping or I'm online looking to watch something, it's like, okay, what am I choosing at this moment? It can be those little things. It doesn't have to be, I think the other piece right now, and we're at like 40 minutes. So, but as we've said every week, it's like that's why we started this, because we talk, right? We talk through, we talk out. We bounce ideas. We talk a couple of times a week usually, because we're each other's sounding boards a lot of times. But if I think a lot of the memes also are putting that pressure on being better in huge leaps, right? If you're not losing 50 pounds in the 2 months, right? How healthy is that anyways? But if you're not losing this huge amount of weight, if you're not working out this amount of time, if you're not reading this number of books, if you haven't gotten this many customers for your business, instead of looking at those huge leaps, looking at the small ones, it's choosing to read one book instead of watch one show. Or if you're watching one show, watch a documentary instead of whatever it is, right? I'm not going to outline for everybody, but looking at it in those small increments. Making those small. Choosing the chocolate cake because that's what you need right now, right?
Because ultimately, if you're not mindful in the big leap, you won't get any more joy out of the big leap than you got out of the piece of chocolate cake, right? If you choose not to be present with it and really to celebrate it. I mean, I've had some big accomplishments that because I didn't choose to celebrate them, because I either didn't value them or whatever, wasn't present with them. I didn't realize how much better my life was or how much I had grown. When I got these multiple degrees all at once and just kind of waiting, and papers came in the mail. Well, there wasn't a big ceremony, and now a lot of people are dealing with that. How do you celebrate graduation when there's no graduation? And so I understand that pain. But speaking of getting better and incrementally better, we are part of a 10-day program starting on the 11th. I'm so miserable.
In a week.
Yeah, the 11th, 10 days, incrementally better, little choices, every single day, a great group of people to support you. It's not starvation. There are no, exercise police. We don't put heart rate monitors on you and, whatever. It's fun, and it's so much what I need. I was doing really good with things until this last week when all I want to do is eat chocolate cake. But one of the ways to take care of that is to eat chocolate cake. It doesn't have to be Mondo Big. It doesn't have to be full of sugar and
you don't have to eat the entire cake.
You don't have to eat the whole entire cake. Well, my kid won't let me eat the entire cake because she's going to want to eat the entire cake. But
or if it means eating the entire cake, whatever.
I am going to eat some chocolate cake because I also know in a week I'm not going to be eating chocolate cake because it's my choice, and I have the power of choosing, and I'll have the power of choosing every day in those 10 days. And if it gets really crazy and I eat some chocolate cake in those 10 days, it's not the end of the world. So if you want more information and you want to join the two of us crazy people, there will be a dietitian and 2 fitness professionals. Yeah, I think. They have a lot of a lot of amazing qualities. First of all,
Yeah.
they're fun, but they have degrees and knowledge, and they're already filling our group with all kinds of fun and all that. So if you want more information, we should get you going now so that you can have supplies and know what you're getting into. So we would love to love to have you join us, and we will be. Are we coming back next week? Next month? Next Sunday is Mother's Day.
Yeah.
We have a topic, so we'll discuss. We'll let you know. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be here. So maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
I'll be up. So I could dream of sleeping in for Mother's Day. Even if the toddler does, I'll be up. So we'll see. But we will let everybody know what we're doing for Mother's Day, and hopefully talk to you next Sunday.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.